of the podcast world. What's going on out there? It's your boy DJ Earthquake. Got the whole gang here. Got Dr. Femdizzle with me.
Hey, what it do, man? What's poppin'?
I got King Mitty via LA.
What's going on, man? I had a song, but I was like, nah, don't really feel like singing right now.
Yo, did you apply beer grease? On
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say.
You too, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
You got to.
You and y'all is a little bit shiny over there, young.
This is a daily thing.
Yeah.
I got the struggle joint, man.
You got self-care.
You got to moisturize your condition, man.
I got the struggle joint, man.
If you can hear, the mic can pick up what's going on outside.
We can hear it. We can hear. Well, at least I can. I got y'all on the moon with me.
Welcome to another episode of Anglo Accents Riding for No Reason.
We are the Africanist. This is Travel Talk. Welcome to another week here with us. Big shout out to everybody that tuned into last week's episode with Ish and Borley. Y'all ran those numbers up. God bless y'all. But you know,
Borley is authentic, bro. 100% genuine.
Very authentic. I think we spoke to her an additional 30 minutes after the pod.
Bro, she prayed for us after the pod, bro.
She did.
I missed. I had to go. What did I have to do? I think I had the family gathering.
You can't fake that authenticity, bro. Like, she 100% genuine, bro.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Thirst trap don't mean nothing. She's legit, bro.
She be thirst trapping?
But she kind of admitted to it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's like on a more respectful term than anything. We have a lot to talk about today. We are in the midst of I don't know what to call it.
A world, a crisis,
a crisis,
a war,
a war, and you know, just to be candid, 3 weeks ago, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, because that's when we had Meadows on, if I'm not mistaken, because this pod will make it 3. So about 3 weeks when Meadows came on, that's when George Floyd had passed at the hands of police brutality in the eyes of all of us. For those who've seen the video, I cannot say confirm or deny that. Well, actually, I can confirm. I haven't watched the full video. I've seen maybe like 10 seconds of it, but like, you know, I don't allow my spirit to, you know what I'm saying?
You haven't, bro. You haven't watched the
video either. I haven't seen the video either.
Why did two y'all be skipping real stuff, man? Come on, man.
Because I refuse to watch.
I can't watch that.
I understand that, but I feel like you should watch it to just gain just a full understanding of the severity of what happened, and just, you know.
Yeah, y'all gotta
really understand it, man.
It's graphic.
To understand more of the outrage.
You can't deprive yourself.
Yeah, you got to, bro.
I'm not saying like I didn't. I'm not saying I didn't see the video. I didn't watch the entire video. Is what I'm saying. Like I saw and heard him saying I can't breathe. After that, I was just like, all right, bro.
I've probably seen like the first 30 seconds of the clip. I know they said it's like 10 minutes long, but dog, to me, I try to like not watch graphic stuff like that. I'd rather just someone tell me about it or read about it at this point.
Yeah, I will say that I haven't been negligent to reading articles of what's been happening, or I haven't paid attention to things that's happened on social. But like even when we were talking to Borley, I wasn't on socials that heavy, just because, bruh, social media is a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just too much. It's like too many opinions, too many yes men, too many stupid people on there, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I'll say
a lot of these social media influencers, a lot of these celebrities, all of them are trash. Like I said, 80% of them is trash.
What's it called?
Virgil.
Since the New Zealand shooting.
Shout out Virgil.
You said what?
Off-White?
Nah, I'm talking about Mitty. I ain't hear what Mitty said.
Oh, I said since the New Zealand shooting, this New Zealand mosque shooting, I ain't watching.
Yeah, I would say the New Zealand mosque shooter was the last one I seen, and I thought it was a video game too, which was wild. But
I didn't watch that one. That's when I consciously made the effort not to watch him anymore.
Yeah, but we have a member of Metro Transit Police. Is that correct, my good brother John?
Brother Showtime, Largo legend. You know what I'm saying? Largo's finest.
My apologies. Yeah, yep. Hey, firm man, I'm here. Figured I'd come help my man Femi out in your guys' podcast. And I do want to just go on record from the beginning and say that a lot of the stuff, whatever we discuss is my opinions as an officer. It has nothing to do with my department or anything like that. Everything that I'm going to speak on is my experiences and what I've dealt with, and just coming from my opinions as an officer.
Yeah, I would say even before you introduce him as an officer, like this is our like a member of our family. You know what I'm saying? Like he went to high school with me and Femi. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a trusted member of our community. So this isn't like a situation where like
Salisbury's finest.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't a situation where we're
indeed Salisbury
like he's an alien or it's confrontational per se.
No.
It's just
and I know these
absolutely.
guys.
We go way back with this.
Yeah,
brother.
I mean, I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that I addressed his title correctly and his position, because people can just kind of convolute all officers together, expecting them to all behave the same way. And I just wanted to distinct his role within that within the badge community, if that's a correct way to go about it.
Yeah. For sure. Like I'll just say, like I've known Femi and Yao since, before I even thought about even taking up police as a profession, or becoming law enforcement. I've known these guys since, 9th, 10th grade of high school. So, that's going back to, 2002, 2003.
Sure.
So that's almost, basically 17 years now, so it's more than just them finding, a police officer to talk to. I actually know these guys and they know me.
For sure.
Yeah, man. We attend the same church, man. You know what I'm saying? Zion. So we out here, man. This brother's a family man. He's a father. He's a husband. So figure he's a black man. So why not have this type of conversation, with a brother like this?
And I feel like we had this plan for a long time ago.
Yeah, we did.
I think we had this idea for a while now.
We had.
Yeah, a few years back.
Yeah.
So just for the listeners to know, my whole entire approach is to number one, as always, to learn. But I'm definitely planning on asking some tough questions, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you'll have the answers to all of them, John, or eventually point us in the right direction where we can get the answers. But I think the conversation, like we said, is something that's necessary because of this climate. And we will be remiss as podcasters if we didn't ask these questions, because I'm sure a lot of our international listeners and local listeners want to know, the mindset of someone in your position, and also personally how it affects you as well. So once again, just want to, I didn't say it earlier, but I just want to, thank you for honoring the invite and, getting ready to have this conversation with us.
No doubt, brother. No doubt, man. Hopefully, like I said, I've been on 10 years now. So hopefully some of the things that I've seen and the stuff that I've been through, and I hope that I can help and answer some of the questions, man, and, give you guys a perspective from the other side of it. We're all one, but, it's always two sides to everything. And hopefully I can give some insight onto this side of it too.
For sure. So I think the best route to go in this situation is, if we can identify the difference between your role as transit police and maybe I guess the ones that we see in the cop cars per se. So like,
okay,
how different is y'all training? How different are y'all roles? Do y'all roles blend in at times? How does that work?
All right, so I'll speak. So for us, we working for Metro Transit, we go to 3 different academies. We have to attend Virginia portion of the academy, a DC portion of the academy, and the Maryland portion of the academy, because we cover 3 jurisdictions. Whereas DC police or PG County police, or Montgomery County or VA state troopers, however you see it, they only have to worry about their area or their state. whereas we have to cover wherever the metro goes. So we have to know all three jurisdictions. The training wise, we basically, wherever we are, so if I'm in DC, I have to abide by, the laws, just like, DC police do. The, things that they charge and, the crimes that they deal with, we're taught those same things basically in their jurisdiction. And the same goes for Maryland and Virginia. So basically just whenever we cross lines, we just have to be aware, like, all right, I'm in DC now. I can charge this person for this, or I can arrest this person for this. Whereas if I'm in Maryland, I can't charge that person for that. Whereas in DC, you can do that. So that's basically the only difference. And our jurisdiction, like I said, we cover all the metros up into 150 feet with to any bus stop. So there's basically wherever bus stop you see all throughout Maryland, DC, and Virginia, we have jurisdiction, up to 150 feet from that bus stop.
Up to 150
so
feet.
basically, we have arrest powers. People look at, a lot of people not familiar with transit police, so they just think like, oh, they just transit police. But no, we can arrest you the same way DC and PG and MoCo can arrest you as well.
For perspective, Fruitvale Station, Oscar Grant, you know what I'm saying? That was transit police in California, the BART system police or whatever. You know, that ended up in that unfortunate situation of violence, whatever. But, I'm not drawing a comparison between you and them per se, but what I'm saying is, in terms of the role, the impact, the risk, is the same.
It's the same. It's absolutely the same. And you got to think about it too, man. With a lot of people from the outside, it's one of them things that, working here, we understand it because we deal with it. But people from the outside looking in, they don't really understand that.
Exactly.
Bro, on a day-to-day basis, we come into contact and deal with more people than DC or PG because we're inside of the metro. I'm sure y'all all have rode the metro before see how it is.
Yes, sir.
It's
during
wild.
rush hour.
It's wild.
How it is dealing with these juveniles. All the juveniles, they ride the train back and forth to school. So, we come into contact with way more people, whereas, MPD and PG, they have the comfort of their car that they're in all day. Yeah, they get calls, they get, they tend to get serious calls sometimes, but on a day-to-day basis, we come into contact with way more people, on a daily, because we're out here in the midst of it. And some of us are on foot and some of us are mobile in vehicles. So you got to think about it. If you on foot, you inside these train cars and inside these stations with everybody. You got to ride the same train and get to where you're going the same way they do.
So they really put you guys at risk with this whole Corona thing, because y'all can't even just stay in your car, sanitize your cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk, but they issued us all masks. We try our best to, just not try to board the train cars that are crowded. And we just gotta look at it as, when we signed up for this, it comes with it, man. You signed up to be a police officer, you got to take what comes with it. And, at a time like this, it's a part of our job,
Let me ask you this. You just talked about you signed up for this. Of course, like you mentioned earlier, we all went to high school not knowing, what paths our lives would take. So just asking you, what made you want to be a cop?
So for me, man, I played football in college, and once I realized, I knew going to Salisbury, I knew I wasn't, dreams of making it to the NFL, that went out the window like 10th or 11th grade of high school. You just start seeing the way that your body growing and stuff like that. You're like, man, I'm playing because it's fun, but I ain't making it to the league. So I think it probably was around by my senior year of high school. My senior year of college. I just was, trying to decide what I wanted to do. And my dad's a mechanic for Metro. So he was like, hey, man, one of my boys told me that transit police is hiring. Like, you should apply. Prior to that, I didn't even know anything about transit police. I had no clue what it was. I had no dreams of being a cop at all. Like my thought was, I'm gonna graduate from college. I'm gonna go intern somewhere. My dad knows a lot of people, so I'm gonna either go intern somewhere, end up working at a school, because my major was sociology. So I'm gonna end up working at a school, or I'm gonna either just go another route and continue school, or maybe try to take up something else. And so all this time I'm just sitting there thinking damn, all right, I guess my dad said they hiring, so let me just apply. So I applied before I graduated. So our graduation was May 31st of 2010. I started applying like February 2010, somewhere around that time. And so I was just doing all the steps prior to me graduating because I was worried about getting out of school and not knowing what to do with myself. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I applied, passed everything, passed the physical, the psychological, and everything. And prior to me graduating, like that week, they were like, hey, we know you got graduation coming up. We're willing to offer you employment. You passed everything. If you want to come in, we're willing to offer you a job. So I graduated from college May 31st. My hire date was June 7th. So that very next week, I got hired. So, and a lot of people, who become police officers, they apply to like multiple agencies. I can tell you, just to show how honest I am about it, I didn't apply to no other agencies. So like, I didn't really, I wasn't, I'm not going to say I wasn't taking it serious, but I just did it because I'm like, all right, I need to get a job. Let me try this out. And I just applied here. I didn't apply to any other agencies. And I got hired, man. And honestly, I know a lot of people feel how they want to feel about police, man, but it was the best decision I ever made, as far as for me, speaking for me personally and my family, and the things that I've learned. And I'm that's just how it happened. It wasn't one of them things where like I grew up like, oh, I want to be a cop when I grow up. Like y'all, Femi, like, bro, we all went to high school together. None of us, we all knew the guys who wanted to be cops. I wasn't one of the guys that wanted to be a cop. So like, I don't know. That's just one of them things. Yeah, right. And I wasn't a part of that. I played sports. I was cool with everybody. So.
Wait, Femdi, you did ROTC?
Yeah, for 3 years.
I did ROTC too.
I did ROTC literally every year but my senior year because I went to Texas. That's why I didn't do ROTC.
I gotta see pictures of this.
I have a question. I did ROTC too, but I stopped just like Femi in my senior year too because I just hated the fact that I had to get up and do push-ups with someone. That used to blow me.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't doing that because they made you wear uniforms. I was like, I ain't wearing no uniforms. Like,
you thought he was cool,
but
huh?
I did want to ask John a question. So with everything going on this weekend, I thought to myself the first time I've ever interacted with police growing up in PG County. And that was even like before I got to college. So I'm like, I wanted to ask you, before you became an officer, what was your interactions with police officers?
My first interaction with police, I had minor interaction with them when I was in like elementary school, just being in the neighborhood. I grew up in DC with my mom, and just getting in the little dumb stuff. The police would come and ask, like little stuff like, what y'all doing? But my first real interaction with police probably was like my junior year of high school on like a traffic stop. Dude pulled me over for my tent. A PG County officer pulled me over for my tent. It wasn't really a good experience. He kind of was negative from the beginning for no reason. I had my seatbelt on, my tags were good. I knew my tent was legal. I think it just was the time of the night and the kind of car that I was driving. I had a little 96 Honda Accord and it had like my exhaust was real loud. So I don't know what his mind was or what he was thinking during that time, but I think he kind of was just looking for a reason to pull me over. So, he pulled me over for my tent and it was a negative experience. Dude was real rude to me. And at that time, I didn't have a negative view on police, but it wasn't the best. You know what I mean? So that was my first real interaction. I never really had nothing more serious than that outside of traffic stops growing up. I got pulled over a lot in PG, mainly Harry S. Truman near Largo. Like I was getting pulled over there all the time. And then going to Salisbury, traveling Route 50 going towards Ocean City, I was getting pulled over a lot by Maryland State Troopers. And a lot of the times, man, I just felt like, of course, I wasn't. I'm like, man, I ain't really doing what you pulling me over for. But those were mainly my interactions. It was never really nothing too crazy. I never really got no trouble, man, because I was always playing sports and stuff like that. But traffic stops, a lot of traffic stops. Those were my interactions, man.
So I mean, I'm ready to just.
I'm trying to get into a few of the training questions in terms of training. But Femi, did you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's talk about the police training and things of that nature.
So what is exactly considered resisting arrest? I want to know, in terms of your training, is it maybe like the talking back, or is it like the minute that they shift their body in one position? Like what constitutes resisting?
So I'll speak from my experience in my 10 years, and from what from what I was trained. I would consider resisting arrest when I've made the determination that, look, you're under arrest, and I tell you that you're under arrest, and from that point forward, you don't comply with anything that I'm telling you to do. So if I say, hey, look, Femi, you under arrest, I go to put my cuffs on you, and then if you, ever so slight, pull your arm away, or nah, fuck that, what you arresting me for? Once that starts and you're not complying with what I tell you to do, that's considered resisting arrest. Okay. Also, if you're cuffed and you're refusing to allow us to put you in the vehicle, you're refusing to let it, we can't transport you. You're fighting, kicking, that can fall under it too. But for me, mainly, it's anything I tell you after I say, hey, Femi, hey, y'all, you're under arrest, and you refuse to agree or allow me to handcuff you. That's what I'll consider resisting arrest.
Okay.
So when they arrest you, because one of the things you always hear is that, like, why are you arresting me for? Why am I being detained and stuff like that? Like, do you tell them why you're arresting them, or is it just like, hey, you're under arrest at this point?
Miranda, you gotta read them the Miranda rights.
So you don't always have to read them the Miranda rights if you're not about to question them. Okay. If you're not about to question them, you don't have to read it to them. But for me, I always, before I tell you that you under arrest, me as an officer, you already know why I'm in contact with you. Like, I'm speaking for how I operate, and it's so many police officers around the world, man, and we're all different people. But just from what I've learned, and I've been, I thank God that I haven't been in no major trouble out here on the street. I haven't had, many complaints against me at all. So, like, my thing is, I like to think that I'm a good officer, and like I go about things the right way. But for me, by the time I'm placing you under arrest and I'm telling you that you're under arrest, you already know what the reason is and you why. So for instance, if you out here and I get a call for somebody that assaulted somebody, they say, all right, we in DC, so simple assault is a probable cause misdemeanor. Whereas if I show up on the scene and I got probable cause to believe that you did in fact assault this person, I can say, all right, look, I got probable cause to place you under arrest. So if I show up to the scene and it says one of you guys assaulted another individual, and both of y'all standing there, the one guy got a knot on the top of his head and you got blood coming from your knuckle, right? My probable cause is gonna say, all right, well, he got a knot on his head and he got a knot on his hand or a cut on his hand. That would lead a reasonable person to believe, all right, that cut on his hand probably came from him punching him in the head. So that's going to be my probable cause, and I'm going to go by what that person tell me. So at that point, I'm going to say, all right, look, man, got the call here. You assaulted this person. He got visible injuries. Going from what he told me and off of what people here telling me, I have to place you under arrest. Boom. You know why you're under arrest at that point. I'm telling you why. A lot of times, traffic stops and stuff like that, it can get tricky with certain officers because a person might want to know, as soon as I come to the window, what you pulling me over for? All right, that's one thing I can tell y'all. For me, speaking for myself, when I'm mobile and I do traffic stops, the first thing I'm doing when I come to your window, hey, I'm Officer Graham, Transit Police. You have your license and registration on you. A lot of the times, we're not even able to get that out of our mouths before the person is yelling at us, cursing at us. What you stopping me for? What you stopping me for? Look, man, just let me get your license and registration and I'm going to explain everything to you. It's very rare that an officer should take your license and registration and then go all the way back to his car and do all that stuff without telling you, why he got you stopped. And I think that's a lot of the times that's what people get upset about because they just really feel like, man, I don't even know what you're doing this to me for. Like, can you explain it? Like, and it's not really nothing written in stone where it says the officer has to tell you in that immediate moment. But yeah, when you're arresting somebody, you got to tell them why you're locking them up. Like, You got to tell them. So, I think a lot of times people get caught up in their feelings and get caught up in arguments with people as to, why they aren't answering the person's question. Bro, if somebody's simply just asking you, hey, what you arresting me for? What you pulling me over for? Bro, just tell them. Like, and that can, it can go both ways. A lot of times it can ease the person's mind, or sometimes it can further the argument more. Like, what you pulling me over for? Well, sir, I pulled you over because I was speeding. No, I wasn't speeding. I was going da-da-da-da. See, now the argument is going further, but at the same time, you can tell them, hey, look, I pulled you over for going this and that. All right, well, now this person might be like, all right, okay, cool, my bad, officer. Whereas if you don't tell them, now they mad. So I just feel like it's one of them things where, as a whole, man, everybody, we just gotta, officers, we can do better. And when we dealing with people as well, sometimes some people know that they give us a hard time, and I've seen it. Like at the end of a lot of confrontations or stops that I've had with people, I've had a lot of people apologize to me because I meet everybody with kindness, and then they may be an asshole to me just off of something that happened to them with another officer, and they might think that I'm that same officer or that we all act the same, and now you was an asshole to me because of how this guy treated you. So it's just it's tough, man. It's tough.
I'm gonna say that, like, from my experience, whenever I've been in a situation where I felt that the cop was being overly aggressive, or the stuff that, because I mean, we all have situations that hit close to home, right? Even if it wasn't me, stuff has happened to my brother before. Stuff has happened to a cousin before, where it was like way out of control, right? And when you watch the George Floyd video, what you see is like a human being in the main cop picture, directly squarely in the camera, who feels as though he's above the law, who feels as though he's acting from a place of like absolute power and dominion and ego over George Floyd. You know what I mean? And anyone else that was in the crowd. When I listen to you talk about the way you approach people and approach circumstances and approach, even making an arrest or whatever, the things that you're saying to me are coming from a place of someone that doesn't really share those views of, of the law. I'm in an absolute power position. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like a completely different thing, because when people who go through those bad situations go through them, they're not even getting those type of questions like what you're saying. They're not getting that background. They're not like So I mean, full disclosure. Like my older brother's been in a situation before where he's been, you know what I'm saying? You fit the description. We about to take you in, and he didn't commit a crime at all in his whole life. You know what I mean? And in that situation, they wasn't telling him jack about what they were pulling him over for. They were just like, "Hey, bro, get out the car, shut the fuck up, and go stand over there." You know what I'm saying? And like again, like you know what I mean? Like it's just a complete different way of going about stuff, than the way you're describing it. So I mean, shout out to you for the way you operate, bro.
Absolutely, man. And I don't, like I said, bro, I completely understand. Like I'm not dumb to it. Like I'm not in denial about it. Like I know the injustices happen, they occur. There's officers out here who treat people the wrong way and who do things the wrong way. And like I said, man, the biggest thing that I just wish is that people will just, look at themselves and be like, look, man, I'm gonna just have this outlook that I know that they're not all the same. Because we're not. Like we're literally not all the same. They're letting some bad apples ruin it for it all. Like I'm upset. I'm literally my blood is boiling about this whole incident that occurred. Well, the murder that occurred with George Floyd. Like I'm livid about it because now that's making my job harder, bro. Like I gotta come out here and people that I don't even know, people that I've never seen before in my life are mugging on me, giving me the finger, calling me a bitch ass cop and you Uncle Tom and all that shit, bro. I've never seen you before in my life. You don't know me. But because of what this guy did, now I'm getting grouped into that. I'm getting, a part of, the hate that people have for police in general, just because of, we're all police officers. But I just hope that we can get to a point where, people realize that we ain't all the same. And it's like, I feel like it's a long road ahead of us, but it's work that got to be done, man. And that's one of the reasons why I was willing to have this conversation, man, because it's like, yeah, like I don't know all the steps to take, but something got to be done where we could, change the narrative. And I'm hoping that, like I say, some positive stuff that change people's minds a little bit. I know people still gonna have their views and still not like police just because, but I'm just trying to be a part of that percentage that helps change the narrative, man. Like, it's a terrible thing, man. Like, that guy, George Floyd had no reason to lose his life that day, bro. There's so many. It's three of y'all on him, bro. Like, there's no reason that should have happened. None at all, and it's just unfortunate, man. And it sucks, man. And everybody's hurting. As a black man, I'm hurting. Like, you see my locks, you see how I look. If I don't have this uniform on, you wouldn't know that I was a cop. Like, so that could have been me. What if it was a situation where I got stopped for something and I wasn't even really afforded the opportunity to explain myself, but now I'm down on the ground and that can be me just because of my appearance, man. So, like, bro, it's sad, man. I'm just praying, man, and I'm hoping that I can be a part of changing this narrative, man.
Hey, show. I wanted to ask you. You, like you said, you are a black man, and like we said earlier, you also a dad, a family man, a husband, and as well as a cop. So, like, how do you kind of, just navigate through all those roles that you occupy? Like, because on one hand, like you said, you got black people looking at you and saying you are Uncle Tom, and then of course you're a professional. How you pay the bills. This how you feed your family, and it's probably something you love. How do you kind of navigate and the different emotions that you probably feel? How do you deal with everything?
First off, I'll say prayer. Like, for sure, I pray every day before I go to work, when I get home, when I get off of work. I got 4 kids, bro. I got 3 daughters and a son. Like, they young. My oldest is only 8, so I got an obligation to make it home to them every day. So, as far as juggling it all, man, it's just praying for sure. You gotta do things that can take the stress away from the job. It's a stressful job, so you gotta decompress. I work out a lot. My bad, my battery thing came up. I work out a lot. Talking to family, talking to friends. Just gotta have a place to, wife home at night, about certain things that might have happened during my day. Talking to some of my other like-minded coworkers who I know kind of share the same views and thoughts as me. That helps decompress as well, because they understand the job and they know what we all got to deal with, so they can relate when I'm telling them about certain things that I'm dealing with. Whereas if I be like, yo, bro, hey, Femi, I want to talk to you about some stuff that's going on. Like, you might not be able to, like, yeah, you might understand it and you might, show some sympathy, and be there and listen. But as far as understanding every side of it, it'd be kind of like a disconnect. So for a lot of officers, man, I feel like you just got to you got to know who to surround yourself with, in order to be able to get some of this stress off you, because it's a stressful job. Then you got to worry about trying to like you said, balancing home, balancing finances, making sure you're safe. Like, it's a lot that goes into it, man. But it's something that I chose to do, man. So I just got to take what comes with it. But man, from the top, it's just prayer, man. Like, honestly, prayer. Because sometimes I look at it myself and I'm like, damn, like, I'm fatigued. Like, how did I even do that? Like, how was I able to wake up and go to this overtime at 5:30 in the morning? And I was up with my son till 2:00 in the morning because he's sick or something like that. But it's just prayer, bro. Just prayer, honestly, man.
So
go ahead, Minnie. Go ahead.
So I was gonna ask, so for me, part of the whole thing with everything going on, in my mind, I'm like, yo, what is the solution to all of this? What are some of the changes that we can get out of this? Like, what's next? What happens next? And my information on police reform and everything is limited. So I'd rather defer to you to ask you, like, as a black man, as a police officer, what do you think are some things that can change from this to better the situation?
First thing that comes to my mind is I would say dialogue. Of course, like more training that needs to be addressed. I would say when people are getting hired, maybe like more strict backgrounds as into who a person really is before they're awarded this job. And as far as with the bridging the gap between, the community and us, I just feel like it needs to be more dialogue. I feel like a lot of people or a lot of officers feel like they're above, having that dialogue. Like, for instance, bro, I can go out here and stand and talk to anybody on the street right now about this job and answer any questions they might have and talk to them, even if I feel like I'm in a better position than this person or not. Like, I'll have that conversation, but you get a lot of people who won't even take the time to do that. Like, for instance, it's a lot of kids and juveniles, Black youth in this area who don't even really, all they've seen is pain. All they've seen is hurt. And they don't understand, all they've seen is maybe police doing their family wrong. So that's all they know is that hate. And they don't even want to have that conversation. So also a part of it is us reaching out and having that conversation. So for instance, when I'm out here, man, I speak to everybody that I see, even if I feel like it's a dude that's mugging me or whatever. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing today? Even if I feel like they give me the cold shoulder, I'm like, all right, man, everything cool, man. You feel like you got something you want to talk about, like you want to discuss something. And sometimes that goes a good way and sometimes it doesn't. But it's just, you got to reach out and be willing to have that dialogue to break that barrier. And I feel like that's where it starts, man. Just building a stronger relationship. Like, we got to do it. Like, you have to, because if not, this stuff is just going to continue. And it's going to take people of all races. It's going to take for white officers to do it. It's going to take for Black officers to do it. And it's also going to take for some of us as Black officers to hold officers of other race accountable. When you see things going on wrong within your own department, or you see people treating people a certain way, you gotta check it. You gotta say something. And I'm, I won't go into too much detail about, what we have going on in our own department, but I'm open enough to say that I'm one of the guys who do that. Like, Femi, y'all can ask Lyndon how vocal I am. Literally. When I see something wrong with somebody that's not doing something the way that it should be done, it don't matter if they Black, white, Asian, Spanish, don't matter. I'm going to speak on it. I'm going to say something about it. And I feel like we just got to have more people holding each other accountable, man.
And when you are speaking up, what's like the type of reaction you get from your fellow officers? Are you getting more support, or are they like, man, what's wrong with this?
So
with this uppity?
So as of late, with given everything that's going on right now, I'll be honest and say that some of it is silence. And it's like, I've talked to a couple people, and they're like, bro, it's because certain people don't want to touch on racial sensitive issues within police. And I'm like, bro, first of all, but you get people saying, for instance, a white officer might say, man, I'm not a racist. I just feel like I don't have a place to talk about it, or I don't want to say the wrong thing. Bro, if you're not a racist, if you're confident in yourself and you feel like you do your job the right way, you shouldn't be nervous about speaking on it. You shouldn't be afraid that you're going to say the wrong thing or you're going to rub somebody the wrong way. Like, you should be open enough and confident enough to have that conversation. But a lot of the times, man, it's met with silence. But I have had some good conversations, man. Like, as of late, during this whole time, everything that we're going through right now, man, I'm finding out a lot about a lot of different people, honestly. Some good and some not so good. And when certain things happen, you got the opportunity to go tell your supervisor. You got the opportunity to go tell your union. And believe me, man, from the outside looking in, man, I know the public probably don't see it all, but it's a lot that goes on within police departments, man, that y'all wouldn't even. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like, you get people fighting each other, people, having cliques and not all getting along, and it's a lot, man. But we just got to build this stuff, man. Like, that's the only way it's gonna get better, man. We got to build it.
So I kind of. Go ahead.
You made the point about stricter regulations around cops, like, so that like the officer, what's his name, Derek Chauvin or whatever.
Yeah, Chauvin.
He has 12 cases of
18
officer misconduct. 18? I thought it was 12. 18 cases of officer misconduct, and he's still out there operating basically calling the shots, running point on these types of situations. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to me, bro. And it's like, where do these feelings of I'm above the law come from? Is that type of stuff. You make these types of repressed, like aggressive people feel like they're untouchable. So look at how they're unleashing the behavior. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's
Right.
wild. So I did want to ask you, and I think I know the answer to your question just based on the things you were saying, that, you know, watching the video and stuff depressed you. But I guess you can give us insight to the inner workings of, you know, your officer handbook or whatever, right? Like, so obviously, I'm assuming that you would condemn the actions of what occurred that day, right? So I would ask.
Absolutely, I don't agree with it at all.
So I would ask you being a cop, you know, if you were in the situation, obviously your knee won't be on the neck of that brother, but if you were in that situation, maybe you're not one of the four, but maybe you're the fifth or sixth one that pulled up later, like, to the extent that you could share or walk us through, like, what would be from your protocol, like the proper way to try and maybe de-escalate or handle the situation?
So, bro, I went through it like so many times, right? Like over the past couple of days, like just thinking to myself, like, John, what would you have done, right? So, in my opinion, what I would have done, man, I would have been that guy to be like, bro, like, hey, I know this might be your arrest, or you might be the one that's originally here for the call or whatever, but hey, just go take a breather real quick. Let me talk to him. Let me see if I can, you know, talk him down and see if I can get him into the car and see if he'll listen to me. Because maybe sometime, you know, I've seen it, bro. Like, it happens, like, on scenes, man, you'll see it's just, sometimes, man, the person just want to hear, like, a different voice. You know what I mean? They might have got off on the wrong start with that officer. Or the officer might have said something to him that he didn't like. Now he's upset. So I would have been that guy that just been like, hey, bro, look, I ain't trying to overstep. You know, we both officers. I'm not your supervisor. You know, we both officers right now. But hey, look, before the situation get even more out of hand, just step to the side. Let me talk to him and see if he'll listen to me and see if I can convince him to get into the car. Because, you know, y'all don't really got that good of a rapport right now. So let me take over and let me see if I can do something. So that's how I would have went, man. Like, honestly, I feel like that would have been my route. I would have walked over, hey, bro, put my hand on his shoulder. Hey, bro, watch out. Hey, I got him. Even if it would have had to been a situation like, bro, hey, I know him, man. We got a rapport. Like, even you just situate like that, man, you got to do the DA. You can't let it get to that point. You can't let it get there. Hey, bro, hey, look, I know this guy. I've seen him before. Yeah, I know he upset right now, and I know you upset. Just step to the side. Let me talk to him. Let me see if I can get him to go in. Like, that's how I would have handled it, man.
So I wanted to,
and then, like I said,
go ahead, finish off.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish off.
Go ahead, John.
And then I ask after that.
I just also, of course, after, you know, if after that happens, me and him got to have a conversation. Hey, bro, look, I don't like the way that was handled, and depending on how that conversation goes, I'm going to talk to the sergeant. I'm going to talk to my union. Hey, look, he was out of control out there today. I don't know if he need to go sit down and talk to somebody or what, but I don't like the way he handled that. And honestly, a lot of officers are scared to speak up like that, but you got to, because now look, you know, what if you don't speak up on a certain officer and then that officer goes and possibly kills somebody unnecessarily or something like that, you know? So you got to speak up, man. And like I said, we call it Monday morning quarterbacking. That's when, you know, an incident happens and you got hours. You can sit at home. Like this is what happens a lot, man. Like an incident will happen. Not this one, of course, not this one. Don't get me wrong, not this one. But a lot of times, sometimes an incident may occur, and you know, you got to think. We got a split second to act. You know, where you know you might be sitting at home on the comfort of your couch, dissecting everything that occurred in that incident, and he could have did this and he could have did that, but the officer got a split second to think. You know. So that's what I'm calling now. I'm Monday morning quarterbacking the situation, but me, that's what I would have did in that situation, man. Like honestly, like bro, look, I don't like how this was handled. We gotta talk about this, or I'm going. You know, I'm reporting you, or whatever. But I definitely wouldn't have allowed that to happen, man. No way,
Okay.
No way at all.
Yeah.
Like the man is laying there on the ground motionless for 3 minutes, like. Nah, Nah, man, not at all.
So I wanted to actually go back to resisting and just to ask exactly what maybe it's different at each academy and each different in every different state, but from what you were taught, how to handle resisting. Is it do you believe that all of your peers follow what you were taught in terms of handling resistance of arrest?
I mean, it's different levels, man. Like you got passive aggressive people, you got passive aggressive resistors, and you have like some people who are just actively resistant. Like in certain, you just gotta. It just takes, you gotta rely on your training, and you gotta just think about every situation, your circumstances, everything that's surrounding you, and you gotta use the appropriate force necessary to effect the arrest. So, you get a lot of times where, like, I'll use just a hypothetical example. You'll get somebody that's charging at somebody with a knife, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's charging at an officer with a knife. The guy got a knife in his hand. And you'll get people saying stuff like, oh, well, why didn't he shoot him in his leg or shoot him in his arm? Bro, that's not, when we go to the range, we're taught to shoot center mass. Center mass is your chest, or like center mass is your center mass of the target. Mm-hmm. You can't, in a split second situation like that, man, you're shooting to stop the force. Once you decide that you got to use deadly force, you got to make the decision, and you're shooting to stop the force. Mm-hmm. As far as like you said, affecting an arrest, you got to use the amount of force necessary to affect the arrest. Like some officers are excessive, I'll admit to it, but you got to use the amount of force necessary to affect the arrest, man. Like if that's why we have so many tools. That's why you have pepper spray. That's why you have a baton. That's why you have, some of us have tasers. But you gotta just think, process, and you gotta have that's why you gotta pray and stuff too, man, before you come to work, because you gotta make sure you got a clear mind, man. You go out here angry about something else that happened in your life, yeah, that first person you encounter, you might go over the top, so that's why, man, you gotta pray every day.
I wanted to follow up on that too. You said some of y'all have tasers. Does that mean that not everyone is issued a taser? Is that like something?
Yeah, not every agency has them yet. So we have tasers. Our department, we have tasers, but not every agency has them yet. So like MPD, all their officers aren't outfitted with them yet. They still have some of only their sergeants have them. Not all the officers have them. So that's what I meant. Like some agencies haven't issued them out to everybody yet.
Okay. Hey, Show. I got a question actually, because I used to do security, and like when you talked about, when they teach what they teach you at the range, I agree with that, because even though I never had to use my gun, but that is what they teach you, and they teach you, different levels, whether it's you're gonna use the baton or if they running away from you, you're not supposed to like shoot them in the back, because that's not a threat to you.
Yeah, the threat is fling. The only time my bad, I don't mean to cut you off, but you're using deadly force to protect your life or the life of another.
Somebody.
So
somebody else.
If he's running away from you and he got his gun out and it looked like he's pointing his gun at somebody that he's running towards, okay, you got to shoot him. But if you and him were fighting or something, and then he takes off running,
exactly.
You're not protecting anybody's life at that point. You would have to be able to articulate, oh well, he told me he was gonna whip my ass and then go to the store and shoot his girlfriend in the head, something crazy like that.
Yeah,
like that's that kind of stuff. But you got to be able to articulate, your reasoning for using that force.
So I guess what I want to ask is there like some type of like mental health initiative or incorporation with policing? Is there like a psych eval that you guys have to take? Because I know when I did security, they hired a lot of like vets. A lot of deal with like PTSD. Like they've literally been on the battlefield, and then they coming back to regular society, and they still holding their guns. So sometimes, even though they don't, is actually no threat because of what they went through, they can perceive it different. So I'm saying, with cops, and of course, depending on what a certain cop is going through, like, what's the, like I said, is there like an initiative with, like, some type of therapy, counseling, psych eval, anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Prior to you getting hired, we have to go. We do a psych evaluation.
Okay.
I remember, mine. It was very extensive. I took it prior to getting hired. So, you sit in a room with a guy. You ask it. He asks you a bunch of questions. You fill out questions. You got to read stuff and answer questions. So we definitely go through a psych eval. But honestly, man, just speaking candidly, you got to think about that. Like, as far as like test takers, like, right? Some people are good test takers. So you might can sit there and pass a eval, or a psych eval. So honestly, you might. That's what I spoke on in the beginning too. I do really feel like it needs to be more, stricter guidelines as far as, hiring, and like with everything that has happened, you have to look at that. You got to look into that. You have to. But it definitely is a psych eval.
And I think it should be something like, it should be annually as well, like an annual assessment. Because you could pass upon hiring, but within that year, something, maybe not even a year, maybe six months, whatever it is. But
you're right. Maybe you had a death in your family, or something has occurred, tragic, traumatic event might have occurred for you.
Exactly.
You might be messed up mentally, but we do have, we got this thing called EAP. It's like where you go if you're stressed out, you got stuff going on, and you need to go talk to somebody. You can do that. And if the person there determines, like, hey, I don't really think this officer is good to be on the street right now, you'll be taken off the street. That happens. And also, we have resources, man. Like when people stress and stuff, if you need somebody to talk to, bro, we have the resources. It's just people's, people being, a lot of people just don't want to reach out and get the help that they need, because they might think that they might get looked at a certain way, or like, they might think, oh, if I go here, they're going to think that I'm stressed out and they're going to take me off the street and I ain't going to be able to get paid. Like, you got, some people think that way, man, but I'll never say that we don't have the resources, because we have available to us. It's just a lot of guys, they might feel like it's not helpful, or they just, embarrassed about going to do it,
Yeah.
But I feel like if you got all these cases of, just quick point, but if you have all these cases of officer misconduct, then you should definitely have that mandated, that you should go through additional rounds of it. But like you said, I feel like sociopathic people who are like really determined to be like, deranged, danger to the public, can find ways to bypass that. Like,
of course.
Yeah, I know my patterns of destruction, and I will make sure that I will answer opposite. So,
true.
So do you think? What do you in terms of black people, black versus blue? What do you think? The outrage, the rioting, whatever, looting, whatever people want to call it. Thinking of the history of black people in this country. From slavery to slave catchers to police. Do you feel like the outrage by black people, you think, is justified in terms of how they've been policed?
So I'll give you my whole honest truth. I don't get me wrong. Hold on one second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Answer whichever way.
One of my AirPods died. So I believe me, bro, I don't agree with the looting. I don't agree with the violence. But I understand it. I understand it. When you've been through so much pain and so much hurt, you get to a certain point that you fed up. People have tried protesting quietly. Like I said, I was speaking to one of my coworkers, man, and look at Kaepernick, right? Kaepernick was protesting quietly. Took a knee on the field, no violence, protesting quietly. He made it known why he was doing that, in a, you know, a good way, a smart way. Everybody knew what his stance was. But then you got the president and people, you know, get this son of a bitch off the field, and people hating him just because he's kneeling. You got people not wanting to sign him because he's kneeling. Bro, that was a peaceful protest. That wasn't answered. Nobody listened to it. So now people are acting out. There's a quote by Martin Luther King. He said, "A riot is the language of the unheard." Like, bro, people are fed up. Like, don't get me wrong. It's opportunists out there. It's people out there that are just rioting just because they probably don't even have no stake in it. They probably don't even understand everything that's going on. They're just doing it just because. But there's some people out there who are truly hurt and just fed up. And they just want to let their anger out. And I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I understand it, man. I completely understand it.
So just to piggyback off that point, you know, there's some videos that I've seen circulating where even some officers they're causing the destruction. They're breaking, and you know, there's news reporters who are, you know, media essentially just heightening a lot of what's going on in certain areas that are being peaceful. I do see a lot of officers kneeling and, you know, becoming one with the people who are peacefully protesting and all of that. But of course, you know, Trump had his message maybe not too long ago about, you know, bringing the military out and, you know what I'm saying, pretty much, you know, fighting fire with fire, essentially.
When they loot, we shoot.
Yeah, when they loot, we shoot. So
like you can't say that.
Yeah,
shit, man. Go ahead, I'm listening.
But essentially, you know, I just wanted to shed highlight on that before I go into my own question. So I know that there's been
My man got 9 minutes.
I know that.
Y'all see, I'm getting undressed. And stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm trying to get the question out. So
I have a question real quick. How long do you guys usually stay on?
As long as you want to.
We couldn't edit up. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no thing.
Nah. So what I'll do is, Femi, I'll message you, bro. And when I get home and get settled with the fam, I'll message you and see if y'all still on, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to get off this one question.
Yeah,
so I know that a lot of these bigger agencies, you know, your NBA, maybe your Michael Jordan, maybe your NBA owner, NFL owner, all these people say that they're donating to police reform or police training. In your 10 years, have you seen any of that money? And has any of that money been used for training for you guys?
To my knowledge, bro, I have no clue. When we go to training, I mean, we know that we get funded by the federal government for a lot of things, but I've never heard of a case where it's like, oh, the Washington,
let's take the Redskins or the Wizards. The Redskins or the Wizards have never donated to Metro Police and said, "Hey guys, we're donating this to you guys for education."
To my knowledge, no. I mean, I've never heard of that. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's possible, it may have happened, but to my knowledge, you know, I know nothing about that. Okay. Nothing, man. But it might be a thing. I mean, I know you didn't get that question from just nowhere. I know you may have heard it somewhere, but to my knowledge, nah, man, I've never heard of somebody telling us like, oh, we're going to this training today. We're going to this training today. The Wizards paid for it. I've never heard nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you about to sign off. Right? I guess this is the last question, right? Huh? So there's a lot of narrative in our community around, you know, fisted description or ways that police are taught to identify threats, right? And I think different states, different precincts, whatever, may handle it differently, right? But from your perspective, your experiences, are there descriptions of Black males, young males, people with certain hair or dressing or clothing? Is there any narrative taught to you guys in terms of when you see these types of people, maybe be on high alert, act in a certain way, reach for certain equipment differently. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you understand the question I'm asking you, and I know that different groups, different states, different precincts can handle it differently. But from what you see, is that something that you could confirm, or is it a myth?
Nah, yeah, that's a myth, man. Honestly, from this side, that's a myth, bro. Like now, if you get to start talking about certain gangs that might dress a certain way or something, you can go into it that way. But as far as like an appearance, just because he's a black male or just because he's a white male, or like, nah, that's not true. Like, majority of the time when things happen, they give us a description or a lookout over the radio, and it's like they'll say, hey, we got to look out for a black male or a white male or a Spanish male. He's wearing dark clothing with a book bag. Like that's how it'll go out. Like, a lot of times the descriptions can be very vague. You know what I mean? It can be very, very vague and not really descriptive. So as officers, if you don't stop the wrong person, man, you got to do a good job of explaining to that person why. You get a lot of times officers to stop somebody and then they'll be like, oh, no, that ain't him. And then they just let him go. And now that dude is going home like, man, fucking cop stopped me today and ain't even tell me why. Probably just because I was black. But bro, if you sit there and have a conversation with him and tell a person why you stopping him, like, then maybe he won't feel that way. And all that stuff is recorded too. So if somebody feel like they were wrongfully stopped or something like that, bro, write a complaint in. Complain. Look, I was wrongfully stopped today. This officer said I fit the description of something. I want to know what the description was and when it happened and what occurred. Man. Like, complain,
We feel like
those
work, bro.
So I have a real life, and I'm gonna try to run through this real quick. I have a real life experience with that. I think 2011, 2012. Literally, I was in my neighborhood. I was in Beltsville at the time, and like at the time, my mom was even like going through cancer. Like, she's recovering. So it's like she's at home from work. We having a lot of visitors come through. So that exact day was a Saturday, and like an aunt came with my cousin. I'm about to probably go to the store, run some errands for her. I'm literally about to open my car door, and like 6 cop cars literally just pulled in, surrounded me. They did not let me even open my car. They like, nah, stop. And I'm looking like, what's up? And then next thing you know, bro, I'm getting roughed up. They patching me, taking my ID. They can picture me on the phone. They like, yo, you fit a description. I'm like, what description? I mean, these are black and white. It's it's a white cop and black. So it's not even just a white thing. Like, dude, literally, big buff dude, looked like a bouncer pressing me on a cop car. He's like, yo, if you don't do what we say, it's only gonna be all for you. We'll take it in. The ruckus got so bad, my neighbors start coming out. My mom came out. She stopped crying. Like I said, this time she going through cancer, bro. So like, you know what I'm saying? I got my little cousins. Like, I'm looking like a straight criminal out here. I guess they ran my name. Probably see that I had no record, so they let me go. And I'm like, yo, why y'all do that? They like, yeah, it's somebody that's been going through the neighborhood that's been stealing people's mails. I'm like, they like, you fit the description. I'm like, can I see what that person looked like? Yo, they showed me this white piece of paper where like they made a photocopy. It's like when you make a bad photocopy that you can't even see what you copy. Yo, I was like, what is this? My mom came over and saw, we couldn't see nothing. All we saw was dark. And I'm like, how can you say this is me? Yo, right. I felt like, and granted, around this time, I'm 21, 22, bro. I felt like they took my manhood away, bro. Like my mom, like my little cousins, like, and they just roughing me up like it's nothing.
Sorry to hear that, man.
I was so angry. I remember I hit up one of my mans. I called a lawyer. They like, yeah, did you get a name? And that's another thing. Like, at the time, I've never been through that. I ain't getting no license.
So you ain't know to take down no badge numbers.
Exactly. I ain't do nothing. So pretty much, I was like, nah. They like, damn, we can't help you. Because at the time, like, man, I'm ready to sue. I'm ready to do. couldn't do nothing, bro.
Yeah.
So I just had to eat that, and I've been eating that, and then
That pain's
literally,
still there. I understand.
bruh, and then crazy thing, a few months later, Trayvon Martin joint happened, hoodie, and that just kept resonating with me. So after that, my mom would, man, if she saw me wear a hoodie, bruh, it's like she was about to almost destroy me. Like, what is wrong with you? Type.
So that's trauma, yo.
It's trauma, bruh.
Sorry to hear that, man.
I'm telling you.
Like, I also say this, man. So as bad as it may sound to everybody that's probably listening, man, like as bad as it may sound, just hear me out on this. Given the climate that we in, bro, the climate that we in, as just, bro, when you get stopped by the police, bro, just listen, just comply, bro. Like just from the beginning, like your life is more important than like some attitude or some argument that you want to win with an officer. Like during this climate that we in, like until we can get to a point where there's a better understanding from both sides, man, my advice to everybody is just comply, man. And you never know what kind of person you're dealing with. Like make sure you go home. Like you get pulled over, hey, give me your license and registration. Okay, all right, officer, I got you. Bro, just comply. And that's, I mean, as bad as that may sound to everybody, because I know people be, nah, man, fuck that. They done pulled me over for some shit that I ain't do. I ain't complying. Nah, fuck that. Like, bro, your life is more important than, like, than just, you know.
I can see that, and I can even give you that. But you know, for like the George Floyds of the world,
yeah,
that were compliant and they still get roughed up. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that's why they need to go to jail. They're gonna go to jail.
You know.
Yep, those officers are going to jail. But hey, Femi, give me a few, man. I gotta get home. I'm about to check off. Give me a few, and I'm gonna hit you back. And if y'all still on, man, I don't mind coming back. But let me get home and get settled, man.
Yeah, just message me, man. Thanks for you know,
much appreciated
conversation with us.
No doubt,
man.
bro. Y'all brothers be safe, man. I'll talk to y'all in a second if y'all still on.
All right, man. Be safe.
All right, y'all too.
All right.
So, gentlemen, if I'm to be candid with the people of the podcast world, I felt like there was a lot more questions and a lot more answers that we all wanted individually. And I think a lot of the questions, you know, our listeners wanted to, you know, hear answered or hear, you know, spoke on. But I don't think this is a conversation that, you know, we plan to stop and no longer have. So I'll just say that I think Brother John was candid. I appreciated his time here. He definitely gave, and I felt he gave a genuine response to all questions asked and answered, and even his own view on the whole George Floyd situation. But I'm noticing that even on social media now, it's just like there's a lot more people dying at the hands of police, and it just their stories haven't been magnified. But you know, people are making mention of it. I've heard some stuff in Kentucky.
Breonna Taylor,
Louisville. I heard something in Louisiana. A rapper got killed recently. So you know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate and trying times that we're in, and I heard him when he said he understands the looting and the rioting, even though he doesn't agree with it, and I respect his honesty for that. But I want to know what y'all take is on that.
For me, honestly, I will say I'd rather us go do it in where it's mostly white people. Like if you live in PG County, where it's a black, you know, we black over here. Let's not destroy our own place. But I'm all for us. Let's go to VA and let's go to Frederick. Let's go rally it up. I'm all for that. I'm wherever we know is Anglo-Saxons, even Northwest DC, where we know is corporations and you know it's all these Anglo-Saxons there. Don't go to Southeast, because Southeast.
I'll even add, say, go to places where these white people are in positions of power.
And that's why I said Northwest DC. That's where, you know, the White House. That's where all these big buildings and these big corporations are. Go there and let's go wild out over there. I'm all for destroying, fire, everything, looting, call it what you want. Loot Gucci, loot Fendi, all them niggas. I don't care. Loot them all. Like, cause this what I don't understand with people when they talk about peaceful protests. Bruh, peaceful protests has never worked. Shut up. Nobody listened to peaceful people. And then people want to bring up, oh, the Bible this. My nigga, even when the Israelites try to leave, that nigga Pharaoh followed them niggas. Okay? They was killing them. They was putting plagues on them niggas. That's not a peaceful thing. It was peaceful when he said, let my people go. That nigga said, nah. So you kill their firstborns, you hail and frogs and all these other things. You can't be peaceful. Like, nigga, why would they let you go? They benefit from keeping you down. The only time that they will be like, man, like we fear these people now. Like, you have to put fear in their hearts. You're not just gonna march and read scripture. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd ain't bro. You gonna have to stand up to Goliath.
I mean, we already know some of these folks. They hide behind scripture or hide behind religion and the Bible.
And I hate that, because the Bible, I can quote Bible. David had to stand up to Goliath in order for his people to be free. So until you fight the bully or the person that's keep taking your lunch money, they're not gonna stop.
It's like it's politics of the powerless, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like the notion of peaceful organization. It only exists in the dialogue of those that don't have power, who are not really pushing the agenda for real revolution. It doesn't exist. Boston Tea Party was not peaceful, bro.
Thank you very much.
What I'm saying? Like, you have to push your strategic power. Like, so for example, you could use examples like, okay, in Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah necessarily didn't have a war revolution, but he stood on firm ground. Like, look, these are the terms. If you cross this line, these guns is going off. You understand what I'm saying? Even Gandhi, right? Gandhi did it as like a political strategy.
Gandhi ain't like black people, so
absolutely. But my point is that he had it as a political strategy, but he was very well ready to, you know what I'm saying, defend himself, whatever. Like, it wasn't. He did not do it in the manner in which people are using it. Like, oh, nonviolent pro. It doesn't do nothing for you. Yo, I'm very pro the riot, bro. I'm very pro the riot. Like, absolutely. Because like the thing is, like, these cops who like look at the guy that put his knee on the neck of George Floyd. Do you think you can reason with somebody like that?
Exactly.
Look
like
at him.
You gonna mark that nigga begged for his dead mom.
Thank you. And look, he didn't move an inch. And when other people walked up, he grabbed pepper spray. Pepper spray wasn't gonna do nothing. He was just like, I'm so powerful of a being, I can scare all of you just by moving my arm. You think that's gonna work on a dude like that? They need to feel the pressure from every corner of the nation, the world, whatever, that if you do this to us, when you say Black Lives Matter, our lives matter so much. The value of our life is so much, it's worth more than the property, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And businesses getting destroyed, yo, it's collateral damage. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm not happy about it, but it's just collateral damage, bro. I'm an entrepreneur. You understand what I'm saying? Me raising another $2K to buy a glass, that's collateral. My life. Who would trade their life for someone's life for a business? You understand? No one would do it, yo. And then like, people are not dumb. People are not dumb. Greg Jennings went on
Undisputed.
Greg Jennings' wife is a known philanthropist. She has homeless organizations that help out homeless women and all that. Beautiful Black woman. Greg Jennings' wife is known. On her block where her store is, they busted up every store but her. Because they know that's an ally of our community. And he went on air, he told that story straight up. And he said he's more afraid of those riot cops that are out there. You understand what I'm saying? So don't paint this. That's why I opened the pod today. This is another example of Anglo-Saxons rioting for no reason.
But
I've been in the white riot, bro. And I went to UMD, Clemson versus UMD, Woodrow Dansler. They sacked the quarterback last play. They took down the goalpost. I was scared for my life, bro. I was like, what is going on? Yo, Anglo-Saxons riot for no
all
reason.
the time.
I
All the
don't want
time.
to hear about, well, with that, I don't condone that. Shut up. Just be quiet. It is collateral damage. It happens, bro.
And
Would you trade the life of your loved one for the mailbox outside?
And
Go ahead.
I expect Anglo-Saxons to have that stance. When I get mad is when black niggas who has ancestors who has died. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all niggas is stupid. Y'all talking about, all them black people that done died in this country that's been lynched?
Like your man Virgil? Yeah, I was man Virgil.
I mean,
Virgil's a great example, though. He's doing the stupidity. He's talking nonsense.
I mean, people are like, oh, why y'all doing this? Bro, do you think we made it to this point in this country by being kumbaya niggas? You think Harriet Tubman, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, why are people this dumb? Like, I just don't get it, yo. Like, of course, when you go to war, when you countries fight war, innocent people die. Do y'all realize that?
100%.
Or do y'all think only bad people die? Like,
I mean, the thing is, Americans haven't felt, we as Americans, I'll say me included, we haven't felt like there hasn't been a war on American soil. So people don't know what it's like to be
recently.
Yeah. Like, shit, the last one that since the Civil War, if you really think about it, there's been attacks, but there hasn't been like a real live battle going on since the Civil War. And I think people are just complacent in that, thinking like, oh, shit is sweet. Whatever happens over there. Like, shit really don't go down over here like that.
Yeah. Well, people need to grow the hell up. Y'all read books, y'all watch movies.
And that's why, like, people like the Black Panthers and stuff, like, y'all don't understand how valuable they were. Because their whole charge was show up on the scene for stuff like that with weapons. It's not that they're going to get into a scuffle, but again, like, when you're there and you're armed, you know what I mean? You abide by the law, but to show cops, look, this is what we're willing to do to protect our people. It makes such a difference.
Just to pick you up back off that point, I did see the clip where the article painted them as black militants, but pretty much there was a bunch of black men protecting black businesses in Minneapolis. I saw that and I was just like, this title is very misleading. And the irony is that I saw another clip saying an employee is stealing from her own job. Huh? But
the white lady, they described the white ladies.
But the black people are looting. Language is everything. Language is everything. And I'm gonna let y'all comment on that before I ask my next question.
This is my take on what I see about the rioting. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all my honest to my soul. Anglo-Saxons love anarchy, bro. And like the way that, again, I have been in I was like 17 years old, bro. I went to a UMD football game. They won. They sacked the quarterback. That's what I'm telling y'all. White people rioting for no reason. They won a football game. They stormed the field. I almost got thrown down the joint. My older brother was there. Y'all, whoever knows Justin in here, Justin was there. His older brother was there. And like, they went off. They were fighting. They were pushing the campus police. They tore down the goalposts. I was like, I was so scared. So that's my thing. Look what we just went through with the quarantine. People are frustrated. People are losing their jobs. People cannot operate their small businesses. A lot of people have frustration pent up because of that. And I feel like those non-black people are doing a lot of destructive things, honestly. You know what I mean? So they're going out. Of course, black people are part of it because we feel upset, but it's justified in that manner. But a lot of this anarchist behavior, all this crazy stuff are really Anglo-Saxons fighting against the government, which is a big act.
But to play devil's advocate, right? Because I get what you're saying. But isn't this like people always be like, yeah, white people should be upset too. White people should be out there marching with us and all that stuff. Isn't this kind of like what we actually do? And isn't it because they are now doing this that we are getting this kind of response from everywhere?
I mean, possibly.
To play devil's advocate.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying in terms of black people that are trying to like be upset at black people. I'm like, listen, look at the videos of what happened in DC. I saw Anglo-Saxons climbing trees and going crazy, and stuff that have nothing to do with George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? These people are upset at government, bro. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's giving it the national attention and giving it impact, but at the end of the day, I think like I don't feel upset at our people for the riots for those reasons.
Yeah, and I think
honestly,
also it's also unfair because if I'm not mistaken, two of our teams, speaking of the DMV, the Nats and the Capitals, won championships in 2 separate years, if I'm not mistaken, like one after the other. And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't considered rioting. It was they pretty much shut down DC, but there were some businesses affected. There was some, you know what I'm saying, stuff vandalized and all of that. But I think because sports culture has quote unquote allowed such behavior, it's not viewed the same way as this is now because everybody's angry, but that's seen as a joyous celebration. So it's unfortunate.
For real though, I mean, y'all know I've been talking about a certain initiative, but even prior to that though, I really think as black people, there are people that's gonna be in the streets and loot and riot and protest. There's a space for each and every one of us to occupy. And I think what we really need to do is, fellas, even when the country opened back up, do not spend your white money, your black money in these places. Not real shit. Because money talks, baby. Like, I will never go to any sporting event again. Like, they would not get my dollars. Like, I would not go to certain stores again. I get
you still gonna do FanDuel?
Bro, I haven't done FanDuel in so long. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna deprive myself of what, and that is what privilege is, right? We have these privileges, and we don't want to lose them. And that's what these Anglo-Saxons, they scared of us. They don't want to lose that privilege, right? So for us, we have to then really focus on, if we want to hurt them, if we want to feel us, we gonna have to take what we call some losses or whatever into our lifestyle just to make them feel us. I feel like Mikey Williams, who was literally the top nighter, he's going to the 10th grade now. Like literally could have went to college this year. That's how dope he was. He's out in California. Dude tweeted out today like, I'm really thinking about going to HBCU. I remember having a conversation about that with EA. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, this is what needs to. I think Moon think you saw that. I've been preaching this. If our LeBron Jameses, Kobe's, you name it, our top athletes, you know what? I want to go there. Why should a Mikey Williams? Don't put him in a situation where Duke is right here, Kentucky is right here, but y'all want me to come to Morgan State? Y'all gotta make it good for him to come to Morgan State. Y'all gotta update y'all dorms. Y'all gotta update y'all, practice facilities. Like,
it's true. Yeah, I think financial. To go back to your point, financial appropriation is very important.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's the main reason. That's the main reason why I asked Cuz that question. I was just like, the money that they say they donated, or any big venture, whatever, have donated. Have you seen it, or have you heard it being applied to your training or whatever the case may be? Because to be honest, I think I forgot who. I think I don't know. Some team recently said that they donated $1 million to police, whatever. But to who though? You understand what I'm saying? It's just like, all right, if they get that bread, all right, when do they get that bread, and when and how soon do they implement what they're gonna do with that bread? You get me what I'm saying? It's just like all that throwing money is cool, but if there's all we know is that the money was given. We don't know what happened to the money. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but I think it's just like when people donate money to schools and all that stuff. Like you're gonna the people at the top are gonna know that they got the money, and they're gonna divide the money and know how they're gonna divide it. But I don't think they're gonna like now go ahead and tell the teachers or the professors, hey, we're about to give you, you know, these new laptops because this person gave us money.
Yeah, like these Jay-Z's, they do these Rock Nation parties. Nah, let's talk about how to better benefit our people, man. Cause y'all want to say, yo, there's a better method. Nah, there ain't no better method. Y'all niggas is good. All right, like people are worried about not just them; they worried about their generation coming. Like it's not gonna happen overnight, but the initiative has to happen now. Like they're gonna feel it. Look at college. College is already feeling it. When NBA is set up a G League where they're giving them 5K, 500K to come to the G League. The top high school player chose not to go to college. Like three of the top 20 or something chose not to go to college. They're going straight to the G League. You know, so imagine these things can happen. Like if we strengthen our HBCUs, like as a whole, not just even, you know what I'm saying? Like these black athletes, they gon' they gonna want to go there. If we get back to the days of a different world where we see our celebs, if they rocking a hoodie that says whatever, Howard, Hampton, like it's gonna make it look good. But we really gotta look at this like, yo, these folks, they would never accept you. Like I heard 50 Cent say when he was talking about his son, he's like, bro, they was asking him like, what's up with him and his first son?
Can
He's
he
like,
ever forgive his
yo,
first
how
son?
long? Yeah, he's like, yo, how long are you gonna love something or someone that don't love you back? And black people keep wanting white people to accept them and treat them good, but like, how long are y'all gonna keep wanting them to treat y'all good? It's not gonna happen.
It's the same
And
thing,
that
bro, over and over again, man. Go ahead, man.
now I was gonna say that's why I like that people back home are now like, yo, they don't see America as the land of milk and honey like they used to before.
Boom.
Like I love that shit. Cause now it's like all the smart people who had the opportunity to come to America and actually like become doctors, engineers, and all this stuff that are back home, they can literally go to other countries now and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this here in this other country, even out the playing field. We all know like America's really, they've built a lot of their success off immigrants that come here seeking a better life. And if these immigrants now see that, hey, I don't have to come here to get that better life anymore, the quality of what you're getting out of the States is going to go down. And then you leave it all to these white people who want their country back, give them their fucking country back.
Exactly.
Let's see how you do when you have your country back.
Well, then, you know, we take away they basketball and they football, and they go play in a football with one Christian McCaffrey and all the other. You know what I'm saying?
That's when they start playing air frisbee and shit.
Exactly. They play with white cornerbacks, and you know what I'm saying. Then they're gonna realize like this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm telling you, like, black people are too essential to be begging these niggas, yo.
So, but that's like the point y'all making is poignant. Like, it's like, okay, black people were here to labor to build up America, but not really, you know, enjoy the benefit of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Never really reap the benefit of the rewards. And that's the message of the Malcolm X's, you know what I mean? Versus some of the other type of leaders and stuff like that. But people didn't get behind it. When I mean, a lot of people got behind it, but not enough people. And then, like, you know how, again, I'm not going to go into nothing else about this, but media controls narrative, right?
Facts.
So they make sure that they push aside the people that had that message, you know, those athletes like the Kareems and stuff that were talking that, you know, they make sure that they're not heard from, right? So, like, it makes that inaccessible to the younger generation, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's like everything we said is nothing new under the sun. Like how 25, we just talked to Showtime, to John about last time we tried to come on the pod, because we were talking about Freddie Gray, Colin Kaepernick, the same stuff that was happening back then. Oscar Grant, that Oscar Grant situation. And now, honestly, looking at the Minnesota video, I question the whole Fruitvale Station movie, because the movie was about, he was supposed to grab the taser, the cop, but he grabbed the gun and shot him, and he said it was an accident. Now I'm looking at the Minnesota George Floyd case, and I'm looking at the fact that they tried to say he died later on.
Oh, did you believe? I've been questioning the food there. Of course.
Obviously, we did, but I mean, for sure. But it's like, what I'm saying is, what is captured in the public, you know what I mean, record is a complete bullshit lie, because we see it with our very eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They say he died at the, are you kidding me? He died where? And then the independent autopsy said, oh yeah, he died from being smothered out of breath. Duh. But on paper, they said he resisted arrest. He didn't. Like an actual resistance with force. We saw he didn't do it. You know what I mean? And then he died later on after he got, no, they said they grabbed him, they put him on a stretcher, they put him in the ambulance without trying to CPR on the scene. They knew he was dead.
Oh, of course.
And that's the beauty of technology now. Like with all these cameras, it's harder for them to try to control the narrative. Like I've seen people posting, oh, the cops is taking the knee, they're taking the photo ops and all that stuff. Yeah. And then they're like 10 minutes later, an hour later,
they hitting you
now beating them up. It's like, yo, you can't. They're not gonna be able to change the narrative of this because there's too many people with the devices to write these stories now.
And that's what I think they never planned for. They've been ahead of the curve throughout the entire, like, we're in power, we're going to control the narrative, we're the officers, we're going to write the reports, there's no way it's their word against ours. Then technology hit, then freaking social media, then it's like, yo, because now not only do you have a phone, you now have a platform to share it, because all you got to do is post it, put a tag, get it to someone with a platform that posts, and bam.
Yeah. And they're hoping that, and that makes me think, like, the conspiracy theory in me makes me go back to some of these things that, you know, we hear about, and we're like, yo, we brush these people off as they're crazy, or he's a conspiracy theorist, or he's a nut. Where it's like, yo, when you tell somebody a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. So is it something like, yo, they've been telling us a lie for so long that we start to believe it? Like, Malcolm and Martin probably never had an issue with each other. It's just they painted that narrative of trying to pit them against each other, that these Bamas are now, we now come to see it as, oh, it's one versus the other. And it's not us who wrote those history books. It's not us who were out here saying it's them versus each other. Nah. If y'all are pitting them against each other, then and telling that story over and over again, everyone tends to believe it.
I mean, we see it now with the media. Look at how sports, they like, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now you are having to pick a side.
It's binary choices.
Yeah. Why? You know what I'm saying? And that's what Carmelo just came out and he's like, yo, why do I have to pick? I mean, I understand y'all ask these questions, but why can't I just say Jordan great, Kobe great, LeBron great? Why do I need to say one? He's like, nah, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, yo, even so much a lot of us, we've been conditioned, you know what I'm saying? Like, we engage in that too. I remember, like, it took me years from growing up when I was coming up, especially, y'all know I came to this country. I wasn't born here. So when I came, and then like we'll be in elementary school. I ain't never seen nothing of Malcolm, but of course we watch cartoons of MLK. We know I Have a Dream. So it's ingratiating in my brain, like, this is good. And then the verses is Malcolm because he was aggressive and he was brash. And then it's not until like literally like probably in my 20s, bro. Can you imagine? Then I did some more educating on myself. And I'm like, bro, I'm actually more of a Malcolm ass nigga. That's my
nigga. I'm a whole Marcus Garvey ass nigga.
You know, exactly. Marcus Garvey, exactly.
We're older and we've read stuff and we've exposed ourselves to the reality of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's our cultural imperative. Let's be honest, right?
Man.
Why would I? Like, I've looked into Kwame Nkrumah on my own, and then find out Kwame Nkrumah look up the Garvey. So why would I not read up on it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You find out Malcolm went to Nigeria, all that. They gave him Nigerian name. Why would you not read up on him? You understand what I'm saying? So that's our culture imperative, right? So it's just like we know the question what they tell us and what they give us. Right? It's nonsense, right?
You know, but just imagine how many millions are like how I used to be. Not informed.
Not like how you used to be. How many of them are still like what you was? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like I said, it took me till my 20s, bro. Like I lived most of my life thinking like, bruh, that nigga Malcolm, because he was against Martin, so I can't bang with him. And then I'm glad the doctors came. I'm just like, bro, this is my nigga. All this fighting, let's go to bloody Sunday, Selma, nigga. No, man. Say with your chest. And guess what? They still killed that nigga, that peaceful ass nigga.
Thanks, bro.
Y'all gotta realize if I hate you, I don't care which approach you coming with. I don't like you.
That's a fact. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Ain't no
now you see people even saying Malcolm wasn't. I mean, not Malcolm. Martin wasn't always kumbaya.
Exactly.
Like,
so towards the end, because remember he said, you know, did he, you know what I'm saying, lead his people into a burning house? Because he realized like maybe segregation was better.
It was better, yeah. So before we conclude off, I know y'all probably seen this too. I just got hip to it maybe like yesterday evening, where other countries, I think Paris, I think Amsterdam, that I saw are, you know, showing support and asking for justice for George Floyd. And even the Amish community came. Is it Amish or Dutch? I don't remember.
They're both. They both kind of same shit.
Okay, cool. So what are y'all thoughts on that? Does the global impact, I don't want to say make this feel better, because I don't think we can ever feel better about this, but how does the global impact and the global support show y'all, or does it change your perspective at all? I can start first. I'm still not pressed to go to Europe, but you know what I'm saying. I definitely, you know what I'm saying, I definitely appreciate it. I think it's something that is commendable. So I'll definitely state that.
Well, I guess I'll go. I don't really care about it. It doesn't impress me at all, because my thing is, when something is a fad, people are going to get behind it, right? But will you really support the actual issue? Will you support it after the fact? Will you raise a flag for it? Will you be a champion for it? Look at Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Like, who, you know, he was in vogue or whatever, but who really cared once it wasn't making news and he couldn't get a real trial? You understand what I'm saying? Like, he still don't have a job, right? Like, only the people that are really authentic about it are about it. Like, these people, you can't impress me like that. Like, I mean, whatever, cool, right now. But let me check back in with you in the year. You know what I mean? Like, nah, bro. For me, I'm being cynical.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have personally. I can say I don't have anything against anyone in Paris, Amsterdam, and the support. Thanks. But to me personally, I mean, me saying that I don't want to do, I'm not in a rush to visit. It's just because I'm also, you know what I'm saying, you know, I've also heard stories of how things go down there too. So like, I'm just mentally, I'm just cautious. You know what I'm saying?
Like, they still got their own racism out there.
Yeah.
Whether it's against blacks, immigrants, there's still a sense of xenophobia out there.
You know what's crazy? We still ain't talk about Balotelli.
Mario Balotelli.
But I don't. But we can do that next week, because we almost hitting our time. But go ahead, Mitty.
Nah, that's all I gotta say. Fuck them, man. I ain't going to Europe either.
I wanna use.
I don't care to go to South Asia. I ain't trying to go to Bali. I ain't trying to go to Thailand and all that. I don't care about that stuff no more.
I want to use this time to say F you to Jason Whitlock. You know what I'm saying? Marcellus Wiley, you too. Cause
I feel so bad about him, dog. Like he was so promising, bro. He was promising. He was promising in the beginning.
He used to be cool.
He was promising in the beginning, bro.
He used to be cool when he was with the great white hope Maximilian Kellerman. You know what I'm saying? Because Max, man, shout out to Max.
Max a real one.
Because he's stuck by Cap all throughout.
Never budged.
Stephen A. Smith, too, you's a coon. All y'all coon ass niggas with platforms. Marcellus, you cut me deep because nigga, you from Compton, nigga. You from Compton.
What Marcellus say?
Bruh,
Michael Vick coon.
Yeah, so many cool.
Shout out to Rob Parker, who I usually be mad at, but he
Rob Parker is another good one,
and he's taking hurt for it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Rob Parker is another.
Good one. Wait. Let's backtrack to Michael Vick. Can you blame Michael Vick though? You seen what they did to him? They
got trauma.
I'm not gonna blame Mike. I'm
not gonna kill Mike per se, but it wasn't healthy what he did.
I'm not gonna blame Mike, but you know you wrong too, Vic. Yeah. Especially you seen how easy it is to throw a black man under the bus. You should know better, nigga. But Marcellus,
they turned him into Reek from Game of Thrones, dog. What do you
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not gonna blame him. But nigga like Marcellus,
I ain't gonna lie, Marcellus kind of hurt because I heard.
What did Marcellus do?
Son, Marcellus.
No, I heard Marcellus. I forgot what podcast I heard him on, Joe. And when he was the way he was talking about just like how Cap is so phony, Cap is so fake. I'm like, damn, bro.
He's been doing that for years too.
I'm just like,
that's the crazy thing. Yo, he's been calling out Cap. Yo, it was one time this nigga Jason Whitlock did a segment on Kaepernick.
He hates Cap, bro.
By like a month. Kaepernick, Kenny Stills, and Eric Reed. You know, those are the two niggas that stuck by him.
Oh, and the dude that left the NFL, the big Max Bear dude on I forgot his name, Jared. I'm gonna find his name. The dude that wrote that article.
Oh yeah, Audric. He played for Miami Dolphins.
White cuz, right?
Yeah.
White cuz, right?
He played for Miami. I know.
Remember, he's half white, and he like.
Oh, I did see him. He a clown, Joe. He a clown. I seen this little clip. He a Bama, young. He a full on Bama.
And that's what Whitlock said. Like, yo, look at all them fit the same narrative. They all light skinned, half white. Yeah, Aldrich. These like they all half white. They all want to fit in. They doing too much. They want to be black. They all went and got tattoos. They all probably date white women. Where except from Cap, he dates African, you know, because you know Nessa is like Egyptian or something like that. Like he's just like going in, and Marcellus over there repeating the same, you know, co-signing, laughing.
Pretty much.
Like I'm just like, bruh.
Yo, I really wish I could remember what podcast that was.
You from Bompton, and Marcellus
is just envious in his heart, just envy in his heart.
Much.
Direct envy, son. Because
so much.
He has had that platform for whatever, and nobody cares about him. And I don't know how he's lasted this long in the industry. I don't know anyone that's ever said, "Yo, Jason Whitlock is my guy." Like what? Like we've been watching sports. People even know Jim Rome were support. Who cares about Whitlock? Man? Like
you know, and I'm just glad they Fox didn't renew his contract.
Get up out of there.
So Marcellus, you gonna get yours too, because now everybody is now saying peaceful protest is the way. Like stop looting, but when Cap was doing it, y'all kept telling him don't do it. Yeah. So which one is it, niggas?
And on top of that, it makes it bad because there's officers who are, you know what I'm saying, boldly admitting, yo, it's not the black people, it's these white supremacist organizations that is really doing all the real damage and all of that. But
watch the videos.
But so what happens is they use the videos of the black people. Doing it, but the headline. I'm losing my train of thought of how to say it properly.
Okay. If somebody busts open the Target, black people gonna run up in there and take stuff.
Of course,
we not exploding businesses and setting businesses on fire.
Yes,
we're trying to fight cops. We're mad.
Yo, nigga, real live on Sunday. I heard like at least within 2 hours, 4 large explosions down here, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is really going on? Like,
It's madness.
black people don't got access to no flashbang. We don't got access to no bombs and shit.
I don't even know what it is.
Like,
yeah.
We didn't even pay
Sick
attention
world,
in
yeah.
class. We didn't pay attention to chemistry. I don't know what. I don't know how to create the poof boom joint.
Hey, just
Well,
like how
what?
they brought crack in, they think we brought crack or something. You know,
Exactly. Exactly. Every bad thing is by Anglo-Saxons. I'm not even making a generalization. It's really them, and then they give it to you, and then it spreads. Then they make you the problem. Oh, drugs. Let's put them in jail. And then now pills. Now we can't put them in jail no more because now it's a mental health. So now we can't
it's
make
an
these
epidemic.
pills a mental health. We gotta also go back to the drugs because now white people are dealing with, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
all these pills and
Yeah,
addiction.
man.
There are the issue.
Yeah.
We need to stop looking at looters, rioters, black people that's angry. We have to look at the root cause of the disease. The etiology of the problem is bad-hearted, devilish white supremacists. They are insecure. White people are so insecure. And I saw this video, even with coon ass Charles Barkley, interviewing this white guy. He's like, you got to realize since the beginning of time, we've been running shit. We have dictated stuff, we've created, and little by little, we're now getting challenged, whether it's black men, whether it's black people, whether it's white women. And, before you know it, I have to preserve, that for my kids, for my kids' kids, they want to preserve for them that when they're reigning, it's still going to be white men at the head of the table. So that is the issue here. So, which is why Trump dictatorship is like the answer for them, because he's able to enforce. He don't give a damn, unlike the Bushes or whoever. He's like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna run this like how them Bamas Putin run their country, and this is why all these white people love him so much, because they don't have the balls or courage to come out and do this, because they're more like the Karens. They do it behind closed doors.
Nice.
They need a face, which is Trump, that don't give a damn whether you like him or not. You don't want to be liked by you. He just want to preserve whiteness.
What's most disturbing for me out of this whole thing is like for them to know they're on camera like that and to still act with that level of aggression. So you have to, like, if you can empathize, anyone out there, like if you can empathize with a black man, like how will I feel comfortable getting stopped on the dark of the corner of 495 when no one's around, when I know that's what you do when you're being recorded with a group of people watching. You know what I mean? Like, wow, bro. Wow. Over a forged what, a counterfeit bill or a forged check or something? Like, not to out African people, but we all know 419. We all know that we've all been one bad decision away from one of our maybe wayward cousins or friends handing us a funny check to deposit or something. You don't know. That don't mean I'm a criminal. You know what I mean? That I deserve to get on my neck to death. You know what I mean? That's traumatizing and scary to watch, bro. Like, it's really scary for me, man. And I'm just like, yo, like, you can look in the camera and do this. So how can I feel safe? How can I feel comfortable, bro?
Yeah, man. I don't know if at any point this will get any better or easier. I don't know. I can't even say when all of this will like potentially quote unquote stop in terms of, the peaceful protesting or the rioting or the looting. I can't say, and I don't see within this foreseeable week to the weekend when it will stop, just because it's like you're reporting on the looting and the rioting, right? And you're still seeing more police do more things out of anger than out of protocol. So that's kind of why I was like, that's why I was kind of asking John is John, right? Yeah, I was asking him along the lines of, what are you taught? What how are you supposed to go about this particular situation? When are you supposed to do this and when are you supposed to do that? I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't have that much time with him because he had to go. But I wanted to understand the systematic approach because, granted, yes, it may not be the same everywhere, but it's hard for me to believe that it's not that far off from each other.
I mean,
it's entirely like for example, like Femi, for you, the test to be a therapist in Maryland, right? Essentially, maybe in every state they have a different law per se, but y'all are kind of reading from the same book and kind of getting to the same end goal at some point somehow.
We take the same national exam.
There we go.
Each state, because of state laws, you might have the state laws is different depending on the state, but the same national exam.
Okay.
But I also think that, when it comes to police, first of all, it's their own personal bias that play a part in it, right?
Of course, of course.
But I think in terms of identifying a threat, it is very much based on your environment, because that's what I took from his answer, and I appreciate him for his honest answer. Yes, there may not be a textbook around it, but that tells me that in local places they put their own dialogue, energy, twist on it, right? What is a threat in DC? We all see the DC videos of cops getting slumped, bruh.
Of course.
And knocked around. And I feel like the DC cops, we've all interacted with DC cops. They look tired. Like DC cops, the only thing they teach them is how to run and chase the dudes, because the dude's gonna break away anyway. You feel me? DC cops. But we see how you cannot tell me the Minnesota protocol on a threatening person is the same as a DC cop, because the social environment is different. It's different, bro.
Y'all look at where we used to both work, where all the corporations are in Northwest. Like the cops over there will be probably more chill because they know
it's a corporate environment.
Exactly.
Everybody out here, you don't see them. They're worrying about traffic.
Mm-hmm. But gear to loose DC, which is literally maybe 10 to 12 minutes away from where we work. It's different because now they looking like, it's these hoodlums, it's these poor niggas, it's the Section 8, unemployment. Nah, we gotta be on our P's and Q's. We gotta be out in masses. We gotta stay strapped. You know what I'm saying? And so to what you say, of course, their biases are gonna be up. The antenna is always gonna be up. And that's how I believe. Hey, I'm not a cop. I don't know better. So, but of course, if you see black people, I forgot which one of y'all asked. I think it might have been Kwaku. Do they teach y'all to, handle it different or whatever? Of course.
They do. Of course they do. It's not textbook teaching, but it's informal. You know what I mean? Environmental.
That's
the same way.
Yeah.
Thank you. Quick, you start a job, right? You let's say you start a job. Any of us, you see a black dude on a job. What's in your orientation handbook or orientation joint is different than when you actually start on the job training. You talk to people in the workplace.
100%.
They'll tell you, all right, guess what? That person, they prickly.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? That's that type of language and conversation that's passed around. Not the textbook. He confirmed that. Okay, cool. And him as working where he works, coming from where he works, he might not even get that type of conversation. But you can't tell me in Minnesota, that dude, look at his officer misconduct charges, and they let him run point on that. They turn their back to him, like, oh, he gonna do what he do. Come on.
Yeah.
Or he gonna get that in line. Yeah. You know what it is, bro.
Yeah, it's very sad, but for those who are protesting and marching and doing it peacefully, I just hope y'all staying safe out there. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself at all times. But before we sign out, how did y'all feel about John talking about complying to when you get pulled over or when you come in contact with the officer instead of the rah-rah approach or the angry approach?
I mean, I get it. in terms of because these are things, and like I say, he's a parent. These are things my mom or my people's tell me.
Yeah.
So I definitely, like he said, he has 4 kids. So I feel like when we're younger, there's this, man, I know my rights approach. But when you get older and when you know the climate and you know, like, bro, I get it, you in the right, but being in the right can cost you your life. Uh, so I get that's the approach he's coming from, and I understand it.
I get that, but honestly, part of me just wants to say fuck that, because you got people like Khalif Browder who still end up in jail and died off you waiting for bail, or you waiting for something, and like you just waiting to be processed and you in jail. And then it's like we have so many stories of Black people who are wrongly convicted, and then people will say, "Oh yeah, the system works," just because I may have to wait like 30 years for the system to work to prove I'm innocent. Fuck that shit. Like, nah.
Yeah.
So
I'm on board with y'all answers, but I will say that, like, based on what he said, he would respond in a situation where someone was being mistreated. He basically it boiled down to he's saying he will come in and try to save your life, right? Mm-hmm. So his response is along the lines of like, what can you do in order to not over escalate, even if the cop is escalating, to give time to maybe, find a good brother that's going to come help you or save your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, bruh.
He's pretty much saying
it's touchy. It's very touchy.
He's pretty much saying, like, bruh, I can vouch for my character but I can't vouch for everybody else.
Facts.
And you never know who you're gonna get. And that's the fact and reality of this. You're never gonna know which one of them niggas you're gonna get.
What I wanted to ask him though is that, like, because I'm totally committed to the idea that if I was in the vicinity of that, I would have rushed that cop, bro. And even worse if I'm with brothers, like let's say the three of us around and my man is down.
Because remember, it's one cop that's standing there that's not.
I'm rushing him because a minute of air for you is your life, bro. I'm not saying I'm fighting the cops. I'm just saying that
but then now
he grabbed a pepper spray though. He grabbed a pepper spray though. You understand? You're right, but he grabbed.
You can't. We don't know what can happen.
I'm rushing the cop, bro, because I'm not watching somebody I know.
Now if it's 4 of us, then I say let's be like, all of us, let's rush. But if it's one,
I'm gonna need at least 10 of us.
I mean, if we can get 10.
I'm not watching someone I know die, bro. I'm not doing that, bro.
Of course not.
I'm a human being, and you're a human being. You know what I mean? Man, so was saying this too. Like, I'm not fighting the cop, but I am separating your knee from that one precious spot in the neck where I'm.
Yo, George Floyd didn't fight and they killed him.
Facts.
He didn't rush. So you think you rush and they not gonna self-defense?
You can pepper spray me.
They're not gonna pepper spray you, y'all. They're gonna shoot you.
No, you're not. You're not. You can shoot. Okay, fine. I'm putting my life at risk, but the life of he's dying. He's dead already, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
I get you, and I'm gonna try my best.
A loved one for me is worth the risk, and maybe my 2 seconds I buy him of breath will cause these other people behind me to also stand up. But my thing is that, like, I'm not watching a loved one die, bro. Like that over that span of minutes. I'm not.
Oh, of course.
No, I'm not doing. I'm not fighting the cop though. But what I'm saying is, I'm walking up and saying, "Hey, he cannot breathe. He's dying.
I agree with you. And what I think I'm gonna try to get is multitude of us, because that gives us a better chance. It's like strategy.
You're not about to execute.
Yeah. Because if it's one of me and it's 4 cops, chances are, like, it's 3 of them that was kneeling on him. One will get up and just shoot you.
Nigga, if they holding a gun that has 6 bullets, that's at least, what's it called? That's like 24 bullets.
Yeah, trust me.
You're
Like
right. No.
that's them rounds. They blah, blah. So that's what I mean. But now I know if we can rush them as a multitude, then I know we're gonna be successful.
Stand a better chance, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be successful.
Because bullies are cowards, honestly. At the end of the day,
of course, and a lot of these cops are cowards.
Big facts.
And the views of the Africanist does not reflect the views of John Graham, Showtime. You know what I'm saying?
But we represent each other.
You know what I'm saying? He not on with us. He did his time. He said he represented himself. He answered his questions.
For sure.
This is the fellas' times, and we answering our questions.
I mean, anybody who takes what we saying right now and takes it as a reflection of him, it just shows how dumb they are. So fuck them too.
Well, with that being said, guys, we out of here. We'll be back again next week. Just depends on what the approach is. We're gonna check the temperature, check the climate. But you know, this is going to be a never-ending conversation. But it was a great conversation, regardless. Excuse me. So we are out. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Twitter, at the Africanist Pod. Email us at africanistpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. Anything else before we get out of here, fellas?
Hey man, just stay safe, man. Love y'all. You know, love up on your family, your loved ones, your friends. You know what I'm saying? Take good care of yourself. Self-care, man. You know, and you know, stay black, man. Stay woke.
Well, actually, I do have one question before we depart.
All right.
So outside kind of opened up here in the DMV.
Not for me.
Okay, I'm just checking it. I'm just checking the temperature with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, outside kind of open. I seen some people in some specific clubs that I will not mention on this platform.
Wait, clubs is open?
Not clubs. Let me say rooftops.
Like hangout spots or what?
Rooftops.
Where rooftop is open?
Okay, we'll end the pod and I'll tell you guys off the pod.
Hey.
Well, I mean, hey, bro.
With that being said, guys, peace and blessings. Be safe out there. See you guys next week.
Hey, I must be under a rock because I ain't know this shit.
I ain't know either, bro. Peace.
So yeah, society.